you can start to see the contours of this thing start taking shape. The dips, the flares, you can see them, and they're starting to melt, to smooth into each other. This right here is for your finger. When you're gripping that and your finger's on the trigger, right or left hand, your finger needs a place to sit, and the trigger happens to be right there. So that's for your finger. I always wait until I'm using 220 paper to round off any little sharp edges. I don't do that with anything coarser than 220. This is my final sanding, unless it's a piece of real heavy burl, then I'll go to 320. But for straight grain wood like this, 220 is as far as I go in the wood. Now when I'm putting on the finish, I'll go down to whatever I need to. I get finer and finer with the finish paper. But I never use 100 grit or 150 grit to sand off little sharp edges, because it'll round them off too much. If you're wondering why I put this stock where it is here, it's my reference. I can look over here, look at this, look back at this. It's always there for me. And what I'm going to work on now is the top, the sides of the top. If you'll notice on this pattern stock, these are rounded over very heavily right here. So there's only about a 3/16 flat right here on top of this. You can see the difference in the side that I didn't do anything to, and the side I've been working on. Now before I sand this, I'm going to repeat the same step on this side. If you do 3 steps in a row on one side, it's hard to replicate 3 steps in a row. It's easier to do step 1, step 1, step 2, step 2. It's easier to get symmetry if you keep the same steps and processes in mind. Now the grain was going this way, so it was really conducive to me planing forward. But I got a feeling if I run this plane forward on this side, it's going to chatter and dig in like crazy. I can do it for a little while and get away with it, but eventually I'm going to have to turn around and pull this plane for it to get a smooth cut. And pulling really is not a hard thing. Pulling is actually quite easy. I'm going to work on this bottom a little bit to bring it around and meet the top on the sides, rather bring it around and meet the upper part of the sides. So I'm going to flip my pattern over and look at it. Now this is a different stock. This is similar, but this is different. And this has a track in it, and the track is proud of the wood, and I have milled the track here and the surface that goes with it. Now this track is straight. This one is straight as well. There is a taper. The thickness of this thing goes down from here down to the tip. This is thinner. Oh, looks like about 3/16 or so. And this one's the same thing. And you can see where I milled this. And I've got what remains of my little block thing there. I'm gonna get rid of that. I should have just taken a bandsaw and whacked it off, but I didn't. I'm going to just go ahead and take that off. Now this is called a draw knife, and it's a lot more aggressive than a spoke shave or plane. You can aim it and you can take off a lot of wood if you got the arms for it. What I'm doing is just removing the wood that's proud of this milled area. I'm just getting the junk out of my way. This is excess, like trimming the fat off your pork chop. You can get yourself in deep weeds with this if you're not careful. You got to be careful and aim it and put the pressure where you need it, because you can really pull off a lot of wood with a draw knife. Alright, and that saved me quite a bit of time. Now I'm looking at my pattern and it rounds over pretty quickly. From this milled area, it starts rounding over almost immediately. And that round goes all the way back. It starts slightly round right here where this little bevel eases up. It just goes into a slight round, and then it never stops rounding off from here to that bevel. I have planed off on an angle, I don't know, 10 degrees, 8 degrees, and I've just come up right to the edge of where I milled this, because when I milled it, it was flat. So I put a bevel on that, and I came to this knife. It's a knife edge. It's just because this track is going to go in there, and it's going to cover up that sharp edge, and it's going to be proud of it about as, oh, I don't know, 50 thousandths. And now I've got this sanded smooth, and with my sand block, I took it down to where all the mill marks, the circular mill marks, were gone off these two flats. The flats aren't there anymore. Now I'm going to keep rounding, because this thing really rounds over. It turns a 90-degree round from here to there. It's a continuous curve. You may notice I'm stopping short of this back, because I don't want to take the risk of running off that back and smacking that wrist, that grip. I'll have to do that very carefully, like by itself, like right now, not in the full swing of this, and then take a chance on hitting that. A ding can be lifted out by giving it moisture. You can add some water, you can spit on it. A scratch is wood that's been removed. A ding is wood that's compressed, and you can lift that compression out by adding moisture. I don't want to really fix either. The mess you don't make is the mess you don't have to fix. This front end has not been touched since I sawed it out with a bandsaw. It's not straight. It's got a bevel. It's crooked that way. But I did all my straight blocking leaving it out there, so I wouldn't come out with a block and then round it over. So now I'm going to clip about a ½ inch off this front end I'm just going to do it with a chop saw, because this is almost parallel. These two the sides of it. It doesn't get any smaller up here at the front, because it's a target rifle. And this is a straight edge. So I've got a straight edge here and a straight edge here. I can just lay that right on my fence, put that against the fence, put that on the table, and just whack it.